So I wanted to do a review of Spider-Man's Steam input implementation. I'm going to be going over each controller type. So I'm going to start with Xbox, then go to DualShock 4, then DualSense, then Steam controller, and Switch Pro controller. First of all, I wanted to show how launching the game from Steam Big Picture mode skips the PC launcher that it has, where you can configure your graphics settings and all that. That makes it a lot more controller friendly for my setup, where I'm sitting on a couch and playing. I don't really necessarily have a mouse and keyboard in front of me at all times. So that's, first of all, big points to Nixes for their port. So let's hit launch and I'll show you what I mean. Just go straight into game. I don't see that that launch window. So let's go in game. And let's look at a couple things here. So, as you'll see right here, game's using Xbox controller glyphs here. So it says A to jump, right trigger to swing. Now, one of the cool things about Steam Input is being able to remap your controls however you want. Now, because this game uses Steam Input API, it actually reacts to your custom configuration. So, for example, if I want to make B jump and A dodge instead, just flip them around, I'll go in game. Now it's telling me to press B to jump and right trigger to swing. I can go even further. Let's first of all, let me just reset my controls to default. Let's say I want A to be swing and sprint, and the right trigger instead to be jump. Now I'm in game, and they've switched. So now I'm pressing right trigger to jump, and A to swing. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good implementation of Steam Input API in action. The other cool thing about it is if you switch controller types, you're gonna have the different button icons depending on your controller. However, I have noticed that for this game, it's not exactly perfect. If you want to see a game that did it perfectly, look at Prey 2017. The issue with this game is that it has these button icons baked into the game. Meanwhile, Prey actually dynamically inserts them from Steam's own folders, depending on which controller it's telling the game is being used, and depending on how your configuration is laid out. So it's completely dynamic. And while this is pretty dynamic, it's limited in which icons it can show, and I'll demonstrate why that is later. But let me show something else. So let me go to the menu. So if I edit my controls, you can see I have in-game controls and I have menu controls. So right now in the menu, you'll see it says press A to select, B to close. If I instead want A mapped to B and B mapped to A, you'll see that reflected here as well now. So now it's A to close and B to select. So I'm pressing B to go to settings and A to go back. Pretty cool. So I'm just going to reset my controls back to default. And I'm going to switch to the DualShock 4. Just getting that connected. Here we go. Got my DualShock 4 connected. And let's go in game. And there we go. So now you see PlayStation style controller icons. So X to jump, right R2 to swing. If I edit my controls here, make circle jump and X to dodge. Oh, this is interesting. Looks like the controls are not switching dynamically here. Oh, never mind. I hit pause and went back, and there it is. So now circle jump, right R2 to swing. Yeah, there you go. Let me go back here. Okay, so one of the other cool things is this game has a camera action. They have two different types. They have one that's meant for joystick, so you see camera movement joystick. It's mapped to the right stick. But they also have one that's just called camera movement, and right here. And this is a great one for gyro control or trackpad control. So I'm gonna map camera movement to gyro, and the great thing about this is that it's like a mouse. It's super responsive, extremely accurate. So if I'm swinging around, I can look around corners. Now, personally, this isn't really a game I would play with gyro controls on, but it's really great that they have the option, and especially for people that want to customize their controls this way. And this means you can customize the sensitivity however you want. See, this is low sense, well, this is the default sensitivity, so I can go really high and just go wild with my gyro. It's extremely sensitive. Now, the other cool thing about that camera movement option is, since it's not meant for joysticks, it's more for mouse-like movement, you can map it to the trackpad. So I'm going to map it to the right half of my trackpad instead of having the map mapped there to the trackpad click. I'll map the camera movement right here. And now I'm swiping my finger on the right half of the trackpad. As soon as I go to the left half, I can't do anything, but I'm swiping my finger right there, and I'm moving the camera. Now, for a DualShock 4 and a DualSense, this isn't very practical. Trackpads aren't in a great place, but this is fantastic for the Steam controller and for the Steam Deck. This is on low sensitivity, so let's bump it up all the way just to see how high it goes. And let's turn off trackball mode. And yeah, there we go. It's very sensitive, very responsive. Now let me reset these controls back to default. And yeah, I mean, I think I can move on from the DualShock 4 here. And let's look at the DualSense. The DualSense is pretty much going to be the same thing, but I think I can show some of the limitations of the dynamic button icons here, since they're baked in. So I'm gonna do something a little strange. I'm gonna remove from the in-game controls, I'm gonna remove jump from X here. Let's just remove it. And on the trackpad here, which has got a really weird setup, I'm gonna set this to none right now. Actually, I'm gonna set it to a single button. Go to advanced settings. Single button. And I'm gonna map jump to trackpad click. So now that's my only jump button. Let's see what it does. Oh, look at that! It actually shows the trackpad as my jump button. Ha! I did not expect to see that. That's fantastic. What do you know? Well, this is very, very unintuitive. But it's really cool. This is great for, I think, just accessibility in general. There's so many possibilities with Steam input. Yeah, wow. Well, that's a pleasant surprise. Well, looks like they have two different official layouts for the PlayStation 5 controller, or no, it's just 4 and 5. Okay. And yep, back to normal. Okay, let's move on to the Steam controller. Now, this is where I have issues with this game right now. Unfortunately, there's no official configuration for the Steam controller, so it's just taking one of the configurations, I believe, from the Xbox controller. And the issue is, right now I'm swiping my finger on the right trackpad and this camera is moving terribly. And the reason for that is because it has a joystick mapped to it. But it's an easy fix. Anybody that uses a Steam controller would know how to do this. But here's the issue. I have mouse joystick, camera movement joystick mapped to it when I would really want camera movement. Let me see what's on click action objectives. So camera movement and then objectives. Let's map that to the trackpad here again. Where is it? There it is. Okay, now this sensitivity is way too low. I'm swiping my finger all the way across the trackpad, and this is the only movement I'm getting. So let's test how sensitive it gets. All the way up. Ideally, you want a full swipe at max sensitivity to go at least 360 degrees, and I believe this game doesn't quite meet that mark, but we'll see. Full swipe. Almost. Almost. So I would deduct points for that, but it's not bad. So now I have this really nice camera movement, very similar to a mouse. I have jump also mapped to the back paddle. One issue that I like to point out here is it's telling me to press R2 to swing. And what I noticed is with the Steam controller connected, it's actually showing me Steam Deck button icons. Let me test this by removing jump from A. And making the right grip button my only jump button, and see what it shows now. A question mark. Interesting. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of the limitations of the baked-in button icons. Ideally, if you don't have icons for everything, you want to tell the game, hey, let's ask Steam to show which button icons should be in game for this person's custom configuration. So this is a pretty bad mark for the game. It's not the worst thing though. It's still a great implementation of Steam Input API overall. But that I would dock 1 point from it for that. Let's see here. Let's map jump back to A. And let's map A to the trackpad click. Actually, let's remove it from A again. And remove it from the back grip. And let's see what I got now. Yep, question mark. Yep. Alright, well, not the worst thing. I'm happy this game has really good trackpad control. I could do trackpad and gyro as well, combined. Have this only enable on right pad touch. And now I have gyro on. Jumping with the grip button and swinging with the right trigger. This is fantastic. Alright, well, let's move on from the Steam controller and let's go to the Switch Pro controller. So now I have a Switch Pro controller connected, and it's just pretty much what you'd expect for the controls. But let's see what happens in game. Interesting, it's not taking any input right now. Let me restart the game. I'll get back to it, and we'll see what's wrong. Alright, we're back in game now, and immediately I'm a little disappointed because this game's just showing me Xbox button icons. So they never took into account the Switch Pro controller, but at least it's not showing question marks, so that's okay, I guess. But it's showing me right trigger to swing instead of ZR. Let me go back to the Prey example again. That one actually shows ZR. It shows L and R for the bumpers. Portal 2 is another example that does that correctly. Even Half-Life 2, since its recent update before the Steam Deck released, that one shows proper button icons for absolutely everything. Let me try something interesting here. Let me go to controller configuration. Let's remove jump from A. And let me map it to this screenshot button. Yeah, question mark. Interesting. Yep. So there, you can tell they didn't take into account absolutely everything, but for the most part, I would say that the developers, whoever ported this, did a overall great job, and I'm actually pretty happy with this. They could do a little better. One other thing I'd like to point out is that the DualSense through Steam Input does not have adaptive trigger support, even though Steam Input does now support adaptive trigger technology. However, that was just within the last couple of weeks that it was added, so I completely understand that it's not in the game on launch day. I'm just hopeful that it gets added, because the only way right now to get that feature is to disable Steam Input and to have your DualSense connected through USB, and that is absolutely not ideal for my setup. I have a Bluetooth dongle, I play wirelessly with all my controllers, I sit on a couch several feet away from my television, and I'm sure there's at least dozens of us PC gamers out there with the same sort of setup. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for now. I might show it off on the Steam Deck later. I'd say overall the support on the Steam Deck is pretty good. I'm very impressed there. Like I said, the button icons for the Steam controller are showing Steam Deck controls, which is okay, but yeah, I think that's gonna conclude it here.
Don't mind.
Actually, I decided I might as well show the Steam Deck off here as well. Please excuse the terrible recording here, as I'm streaming over Wi-Fi from my Steam Deck to my PC, so it's not gonna be that great quality. But I just wanted to show a couple things here. So, as you can see here, it's A to jump, R2 to swing. That's accurate to the Steam Deck controls because it's R1, R2, R4, R5. On the right side. So I wanted to show here, if I remap my controls, so I'm gonna edit layout, and I'm gonna go to buttons here. I'm gonna unmap jump from A, and I'm gonna unmap swing, so it's last sprint from the trigger here, and go to the grip buttons right here, the back grips. R4 is my jump now, and R5 is going to be my swing / sprint. So now if I go in game, you'll see it's R4 to jump and R5 to swing. So that actually really impressed me with this game, seeing that they took into consideration the back grip buttons for the Steam Deck. And that's pretty much all I wanted to show. I just thought it was really neat. But actually, let me test one more thing. Let me test the trackpad click and see how that goes. Edit my layout here. Now I'll remove jump there, and we'll go to trackpad click, right trackpad click. I'm gonna make that my jump, and let's see what that does. Wow, look at that! They actually got the trackpad click. That's awesome. Now that makes me wonder, what if I do, on my right trackpad, instead of camera movement, I make it a D-pad. And make D-pad up, jump, and D-pad down, swing / sprint, and remove that from the grip button that I have it mapped to. Look at that! Up, trackpad up to jump, trackpad down to swing. I'm really impressed here. I am really impressed. Let me do some more testing here. Please excuse the messy video here. You put nothing here. I am actually curious. What happens if I don't have anything mapped? Okay, question marks. Let's say I map to gyro. This is gonna be crazy, but let's say I map. It looks like I can't do. a D-pad to gyro here. That's interesting. Okay, that might be missing. Okay, never mind that. But let me see what happens if I do on the trackpad a touch menu. And touch menu button 1 is going to be my jump, and button 2 is going to be swing slash sprint. Now if I now have these, okay. So no icons for those. Still extremely impressive, and I'm really glad to see another developer embracing Steam input and kind of giving it their all. I think there's still some improvements to be made, but this is a really good showing, and I'm impressed. I just want the one last thing I guess I want is the adaptive trigger support for the DualSense controller.
Can I get an autograph?
And that's that. Thank you for watching.